Civil War was over, we had Emancipation Proclamation, and everything was done. And then we realized, oh no, there was still fighting going on in Texas. And that's what Juneteenth is all about. But you know what it really means? It means every day you wake up and struggle for justice. That's what our obligation is. We fight for justice for each and every one of our people. We do that in Connecticut. We do that around the world. We do that through music. We do that through politics. We do that by standing up and looking out for each other. Ashe! Ashe! Hands up, Ashe! So Juneteenth is not the end of something. Juneteenth is the beginning of something. It reminds people every day what we're doing, why we look out for each other, why we love each other. Look, it was a tough couple of years, but I think one thing COVID taught us is we're all in this together. And I think that's what each and every one of us do. Regardless of race, color, creed, gender, whatever it is, we're all Connecticut, we're all citizens, we all look out for each other, we all fight for these kids every day to make sure they get the very best opportunity in life. That's you!
All the commission members from the CHRO who are here today too. Today, and I think you'll hear about this a little bit more after I speak. I want to read a proclamation, but today for our communities and for our state and our nationwide is about education. And I think that there's a lot of learning that has to be done about what Juneteenth is, why we're celebrating it, and why it's important in our country's history. So if you'll indulge with me, we're going to have, we might not need the education here, but somebody out there listening is going to. Therefore, from the office of the mayor, an official proclamation. Whereas on January 1st, 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation issued under President Abraham Lincoln became effective, changing the legal status of more than 3 million African Americans from enslaved to free. The Emancipation Proclamation did not instantly free all enslaved people. The proclamation only applied to places under Confederate control and not to slave-holding border states or rebel areas already under Union control. Whereas on June 19, 1865, U.S. General Gordon Granger read General Orders Number 3, stating, quote, "The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free." And whereas the following year, freed men in Texas organized what became known as the celebration of Jubilee Day on June 19th. And this tradition led to the establishment of the Juneteenth holiday, the oldest and most recognized African-American holiday in the United States of America. And whereas on June 17, 2021, President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Holiday Act, establishing Juneteenth as a federal holiday and making it the first American federal holiday to obtain legal observance since Martin Luther King Jr. Day in 1983. On Juneteenth, we recommit ourselves to the work of equity, equality, and justice, and we celebrate the centuries of struggle, courage, and hope that have brought us to this time of progress and possibility. And whereas the city of New Britain is proud to proclaim Juneteenth as an official holiday here in our city in recognition of our city's diversity and to commemorate this important day in our country's history, a day when liberty and justice was granted to all. Now therefore, as mayor of the city of New Britain, I join with all those gathered here today and all of those across our great city in celebrating Juneteenth and its mission to promote peace, justice, and freedom. In witness thereof, I've set my hand and caused the seal of the city of New Britain this 20th day of June 2022. Thank you.
Everybody here today, Mayor Stewart, New Britain is doing it exactly how it's supposed to be done. Juneteenth, for generations, was known as Liberation Day, Freedom Day, Jubilee Day. And it is one of the very few opportunities in the African American experience to just celebrate, to reflect on our history and celebrate. And that's exactly what today is about. It is about a celebration of everything that we've done. It is about full and complete freedom to people in this country. And I know people often talk about how much work that there remains to be done, and I think we can all acknowledge that. But today is a day where we can just take a deep breath and reflect on how much we have already done. In the period immediately following Juneteenth, Jubilation Day, African Americans entered into elected offices. They tried to reunite with their families. In the first Congress that gavelled in 1867, for the first time in history, there were 16 black men serving in that Congress. Today, there are over 55 blacks in the United States House of Representatives. That's why when I wore this shirt here today because I am my ancestors' wildest dreams, because even for a woman to serve in a legislative body is something that they could not have appreciated to the extent that we have it here. There's so much to learn, there's so many opportunities, and I'm excited that I represent a district and live in a state where there is a thirst and a hunger for the education and the knowledge of understanding diverse cultures and different people's backgrounds and different people's experiences, and recognizing that we all belong here. So again, I am just so excited to be here. There is a lot of work to be done. I heard you say it was a shame that it just happened, but one of the things that was striking to me in the 116th Congress, we voted on the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill, which had failed over 200 times in Congress. We just passed that bill in this 117th Congress, so for the first time in our country, lynching is a federal crime. We just introduced legislation to close the loopholes in the 13th Amendment to truly make slavery abolished in this country, because there are some exceptions as a condition of punishment. So there is work that has to be done, but I think that work begins with education and conversation and collective and community engagement and involvement, and that is what is happening here today. So again, thank you for your hard work in doing this. In Connecticut, it was just signed into law, it hasn't even been made official, but New Britain's not waiting, so thank you again.
Thank you, Congresswoman. And next we'll have Jessica Angelo Julian, Chair of the Commission on Human Rights.
By state and federal employers at this time, and no mandates for small businesses. While some will roll their eyes, which some did to me, and mutter under their breaths, this holiday is for all, not just Black people. It must be acknowledged that 400 plus years later, Black people are still fighting for change, conquering first, breaking barriers. Who would have thought that for the second time, we have an accomplished Black individual in the Oval? As much as it looks like things are changing, it remains the same. Our initial challenge in the Black community is learning how to work together. To achieve, we must learn how to put the daggers down. Understand that working together is the only way to succeed. Take this achievement as a step forward and avoid taking 2 steps back. Thank you, New Britain.
Good afternoon. I didn't hear you. Thank you. Well, this is a celebration day, and all that I have written down has been said already. But from the heart, I can speak, and we want to thank the mayor for allowing this day to happen in the city of New Britain, all the elected officials that's here, to Jessica, the chairperson of the Commission of Human Rights, and the staff person, Jerome Hargraves, for inviting me at this time. You know, this is important to me because I've always celebrated emancipation on the 1st of January every year. That was right after watch night service. That was going to bed late, 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, getting up for an 11 o'clock service, to have service and wait until that service was over with, to get home and have some black eyed peas and the other kind of culture foods that we have on New Year's Day. But Emancipation Day has always been celebrated in the city of New Britain. And Mayor, you've been in a couple of them, and you spoke at a couple of them. But you know, as time goes on, people minds go back. They don't want to celebrate like they used to celebrate, or our youth don't know the value of celebrating our yesterdays. But today, we're going to re-celebrate the freedom of enslaved Black people in America because it's so important. We have sweated, we have toiled, we have bled, we have kicked each other, as Jessica said, and we're still kicking each other. We have done so much for America, and guess what? The flag, the Juneteenth flag, shows that we are Americans and we have to be accepted as Americans. In our city schools, we need more teachers that reflect the Black experience. In our police department, we need more recruits, more policemen that reflect the Black community. In our fire department, we need the same. So we have a lot of work to do. We can't give up. We can't say, oh, that's a black. I'm proud of being black, and because that's what God decided me to be, and He gave me a function in being black in America, and that's to remind the larger community that we don't want to live in sin and just hate. So New Britain, with our mayor, we're going to fight together to fight out racial discrimination in our community. We're going to work with our mayor together to make sure there's more blacks and browns in the school system as teachers. We're going to work with our mayor to make sure that there's more black recruits. They're doing a good job in trying to get blacks here, but there's more work to be done. We can't say we can't do it because we can do it. And Juneteenth next year is even going to be greater because why? The NAACP is going to be involved in it. This is yours and mine, not only yours, but yours and mine holiday. When that flag goes up, it's going to represent all of us. So I thank you for this opportunity. And if you want to work with the NAACP, join it. There's room for you. There's work to be done. And we are not pointing fingers. We want to work together. Thank you.
Hey, who's this? Lawrence.